And now I'm working as a software engineer at Apollo, startup at San Francisco, US.
Marami rin akong hindi alam, honestly, about software engineering, which is funny kasi I'm a part of an organization called the Young Software Engineering Society. So, hi guys! Welcome sa ating third video in this video series na we're making called Career Paths. Actually, hindi pala third video. Actually, ito pa lang yung second video. Hala, ang gulo na ng sinabi ko. Ayun, we're going to discuss the different career paths na you can take once you graduate from computer science. And actually, hindi lang din naman computer science students pwede manood ng video na to, diba? If you're a biology major, diba? Pero interested ka to develop software, still, this video can be for you. Ayun. So, for this video naman, we're going to be talking to someone who is actually the reason din kung bakit ako nasa org na to. Ayun, naalala ko pa talaga actually yung, yung campus tour namin. Siya yung nag-tour sa amin. And naalala mo pa ba yun, Kuya?
Oo naman.
Siya yung,
nagtanong about the laptop.
Siya yung nagsasagot ng mga concerns ko kasi yung laptop ko kasi iba from other people. Kaya, inisip ko, pwede kaya yung laptop kong yun for ComSci. And yeah, okay naman yung lahat so far. And yun, so without further ado, ayun, let's welcome our very pogi and former Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Cholo Canonizado. Hi, Kuya Cholo. Hi.
Hi, David. Yeah, hello.
And so, would you mind introducing yourself?
Okay. All right. Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name's Carlos Miguel Canonizado, but people call me Cholo. So even at work, I graduated from UPLB with a course of BS Computer Science, and I'm also from YSES.
Cum laude din si Kuya, by the way. Cum laude din. Galing.
Yeah. And now I'm working as a software engineer at Apollo. Apollo is a startup at San Francisco, US. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, okay. So, ayun. So, si Kuya din is, ayun nga, a member of YSES. And siya yung dati naming Chief Executive Officer. So, ito yung highest position sa org. So, basically, siya yung nag-oversee ng lahat. Okay, so anyway. So, Kuya, the first question is, ayun, why did you become a software engineer? Ayun, ano bang reason? Bakit ka naging ganun?
Okay, it's kind of long story, so try ko backliin. Basically, at first, when I was about to graduate, I wasn't thinking of, hindi ako sure noon na, okay, I'm going to be a software engineer. I was also actually thinking about teaching in the university, and yeah, I guess what happened was, so before the graduation, I started applying to a different company. It's Samsung, basically.
Pwede ba yun sabihin?
Yeah. Yeah. I applied to Samsung, which was one of my dream companies when I was about to graduate. And ayun, the timeline was a bit weird. Nauna ko mag-apply sa kanila and I got accepted. So I think I didn't want to let go of the opportunity since I really would love to be a software engineer talaga in practice and not just on the sidelines. And I was thinking to myself that if I become a software engineer, I guess there will be opportunities naman to teach like my peers and other people. So I decided, okay, let's push through with this, and yeah, that's why I became a software engineer.
Oh, okay, I see. Actually, medyo confusing din talaga kasi so, ano nga ba kasi talaga yung software engineering?
So, software engineering is basically it's the application of a lot of engineering processes in order for you to basically develop a software. And it's not just about coding, so it goes through a process. I guess the first one would be, of course, the requirements. Then you would have to do some system analysis. After that, maybe you can start working on the design of whatever it is you're building, and then once you've polished every requirement needed, then that's when you start coding. Now, when you finished coding, and that's when deployment comes. But before deployment, also, of course, you have to do some tests, automation tests, manual tests, and the whole process itself is composed of different teams, and engineers are just one of them.
So, ano bang part doon actually nung process, kuya, na minention mo?
Mhm.
Yung ino-oversee ng isang software engineer? Yung buong process ba? Or some parts lang?
Okay.
Nung ano?
Okay. It depends actually.
It depends.
So, my first job is at Samsung, and now I'm at Apollo. The main difference there is Samsung is a huge corporation. There's like 400 employees in their R&D department, and now I'm in Apollo. When I first joined, there's only like less than 10 engineers. So in my case at Apollo, I was able to be involved in the requirements planning process, the design, the making of designs, and ensuring that we have all the use cases completed before we actually proceed to development. So it varies, I guess, depending on the company and the structure.
Kasi, di ba, nung nasa college ka, diba? So there was a subject, yung ComSci 128,
1 to 8, yeah.
which is software engineering. So it's a
Yes.
course na I'm just about to take this sem.
Okay.
I would like to know how helpful was that course to your work?
Yeah, so ComSci 128 was really useful since it really gives you a good glimpse of what you will experience in the industry in such a way that sa simula, you guys will go through interviews to see who becomes a project manager or the team leads. Although I wouldn't really experience that in the industry, but the interview process, you'll experience it. And I guess when it comes to the whole project setting itself, you get to talk with your stakeholders. In your case, it's probably your instructors. It was really useful since everyone would have to go and create their own software requirement specification, or it's called SRS.
Okay.
And aside from that, everything from the design, from engineering and reviewing the code, you guys will experience that for yourselves. And even the project presentation, like at the end of the sem, you will present to your stakeholders if they're available, and you'll get to see every section's work. So that was pretty useful going into my work.
Bukod dun sa ComSci 1 to 8, what other subjects were useful to you sa work mo, kuya?
Lahat ng subjects noon, they were useful in a way. Probably most of them you can't apply explicitly. Like for example, finite automata. I didn't really use those at work, but the problem-solving skills that you gained while working on those subjects, those are applied in work. And for example, the more explicitly applied ones are, let's say, ComSci 1, 2, 3, which is
data structures,
algorithms. Yeah, and algorithms. So in some cases, before you get tested of your technical skills or regarding the technologies the company is using, you would have to undergo some algorithm exams first. Yeah,
pag hindi mo kuya na pasa yun, di ka makakuha sa work na yun.
Yes. Based on the interviews I tried when I applied last year, almost 50% of companies will require you to go through an algorithm exam first. So what you learned in college is actually super useful, and you shouldn't forget those algorithms that they taught you.
Are there any books na you would like to recommend? Kasi I've read one, actually ito yung hindi required reading. Ito yung resource na gamit sa 1, 2, 3, yung data structures and algorithms ni YSES ba yun? WEISS. Tama ba, kuya? Yun ba yun? Yung book na yun?
I can't remember.
Hindi mo na. Pero sige, check pa na lang later.
If you're looking for, I guess, books to ace your interviews, cracking the coding interview is a good one. I guess aside from books, you can use resources like LeetCode or even
the neat code.
HackerRank. Yeah, because they
The neat code or clean code? Or
LeetCode.
magkaiba ba yun?
It's a platform. Clean Code, I think,
Okay.
is a
Yung
book,
book
right?
yung clean code. How about yung time mo sa organization?
The org taught me a lot of good things like improving your work ethics, collaborating with so many unique and diverse people. Like, for example, here at Apollo, I work with people from different countries and who have different cultures. So the experience I had with YSES is I'm super grateful for that. When it comes to activities, to be honest, I think all the activities that we planned back when I was an undergrad were super useful, since it all goes through the process of similar to how we develop software. We come up with the requirements, we analyze like how feasible certain requirements are, and then we go to the design phase, wherein it's the equivalent of, let's say, coming up with a theme of the event, and then you go to the actual implementation, which is completing the logistics, planning the program flow, and then you go through testing your dry runs.
Yung dry run.
So yeah, and then you go through deployment, which is the actual event itself. So in a way, you're already simulating software engineering in many ways. So yeah, I'm really thankful for YSES.
Sali na daw kayo. Hindi, joke.
Yeah,
Ayun.
totoo.
Ayun, sali na kayo. Anyway, sige. The next question is from our org mate na si Mr. Day Manzanilla. Hi, Day. Kung nanonood ka man.
Hi, Day.
Hi, Day. Ayun, so, his question is, what is an ideal characteristic of a software engineer, Kuya?
You have to be flexible, basically. Flexible in so many ways. Like, you have to prepare yourself for meetings. Like 20% of my work are allotted for meetings, meeting the stakeholders, users, and you have to be flexible in a sense that you are ready to adapt, because as we all know, technology is evolving pretty fast, and you have to adapt. Otherwise, you'll be left out and you won't have access to the best tools out there.
The next question naman is, what is the hardest part about being a software engineer?
I guess the hardest part for me is starting out. Your company, since imagine reading Facebook code, like Facebook's application code, like can you imagine how big it is and how many files that you have to go through? That's what I felt when I first joined Apollo, and I think that was the hardest part yet, since after that, once you read the code base and understand how everything works together, it starts to become a lot easier.
Ayan. Okay. So, our last question na. And actually, mas question. So, ano yung message mo for everyone out there that wants to become a software engineer?
My message for aspiring software engineers, I have a lot in mind, but I guess the first one is continue to learn, and learn. Always think that you don't know everything yet, and keep on learning, because that's the best way you can improve. And then for undergrads out there, do your projects. make sure you make the most out of your courses, and make sure you listen to your instructors. I said do your projects because those are actually good sources of your projects that you can put into your portfolio. So when you apply and companies would want to know, hey, what do you do? Can you show us any projects? There you go. So you have something to show to them. And then trust the process. Software engineering, I guess, especially for non-com sci people and you want to become a software engineer, it can be really overwhelming since you don't know where to start and you don't know what to learn. But yeah, just trust the process, start small, and eventually you'll get there. So yeah.
Marami rin akong hindi alam honestly about software engineering, which is funny kasi I'm a part of an organization called the Young Software Engineer Society.
Okay.
Even maraming people, honestly, are still very confused about this topic. So I hope na whoever is watching this video, I hope you have more of an idea about what software engineering is about. That's it for this video. I noticed na most of the viewers don't actually subscribe. So, ayun. It's free and it will help us a lot. Also, like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Ayun, may Instagram na rin kami, di ba? Very millennial YSES. Thank you so much and we'll see you on our next video. Bye!
Goodbye!